Illan, this is One Leeds and this is the rumour mill. Let's get into it. This is One Leeds. Welcome back to the latest video. This video, as always, is sponsored by Shop GNO, The Job Match Group, and Match Bingo. Let's get into it. First up, The Job Match Group. Whether you're looking for your next big gig or just browsing, The Job Match Group has niche job sites made just for you. F1, retail, security, and loads more. They're about matching the right person to the right job. Make sure you check them out if you're ready to level up your career. Then we've got Shop GNO, an exciting new e-commerce site where you can grab exclusive deals and discounts. Right now, One Leeds has an affiliate link just below where you can score a 25 quid membership for free, unlocking special rates and benefits. You can even list your own shop on there with way better rates than Amazon, eBay, and Vinted. They've got some Leeds bits and some general bits now and launching soon, plus some great prizes just for signing up. This is all powered by a massive Leeds United fan looking to make waves in the online shopping world. So check them out and support your local. And don't forget our mates at Match Bingo. They're smashing it with footy fun. You can get 5 bingo cards for the price of 4 through One Leeds, and you can even deposit just a £5 at a time to join the action. It's a big chance to win whilst having a blast with your fellow Leeds United friends. Thanks to all of our sponsors. Check the links in the description, and let's get on with the video. Hello, everybody. My name is Conor McGilligan. This is the Rumour Mill. This is One Leeds. Hopefully, the audio is A-OK today. Give us a thumbs up in the chat if it is, everybody. We've been working on it all night. We've had complaints about the flipping audio. So here we are. We're back with new audio. We're back with a Fabrizio Romano bomber. Yes, everybody was about to speak about it today. We're going to speak about the goalkeeper complexion, what's going on in and out, and I can reveal an absolutely significant in for Leeds United. Lucas, let's get the pronunciation right, everybody. Perri is on his way to Leeds United. Absolutely fantastic stuff. Lucas Perri, apparently, according to Fabrice Hawkins, who is a very, very good Francais journalist, Leeds United have got all the agreements sorted with Lyon. The Brazilian is on his way to Beeston. Absolutely fantastic, everybody. Let's just get into the tweet, shall we? Fabrice Hawkins, exclusive, total, oh God, that sounds good, doesn't it? Just that first word. Total agreement between Lyon and Leeds for Lucas Perri. The goalkeeper is leaving the tour in Germany and flying to England after medical. Perri will sign his contract with Leeds United. And everybody, today is a good day. It's a good day to have a good day. Fantastic stuff, everybody. What a day. What a way to start. What time are we on here? 10:08. I'm slightly late, but it's 10:08. It's not too late. And for goodness sake, everybody, Leeds United getting the day started with an absolute, just a fantastic start to the day. Just an absolute bomb on all levels. Romano confirming this today. Leeds United have agreed in principle with Olympique Lyonnais for goalkeeper Lucas. Let me hear it in the back, everybody. Perri. Medical test booked and formal steps to follow as Fabrice Hawkins reported. Deal in place for Leeds United. Deal in place to join Leeds United. Get French football news. Leeds United have reached an agreement with Lyon for the transfer of Brazil international goalkeeper Lucas in the back. Perri, according to Fabrice Hawkins. So, flipping heck. Flipping heck. Now, one Brazilian. That's one down, okay? We've had a Brazilian before. One down, 2 to go, everybody. A third of the Brazilians are in the door. So, yeah, fantastic stuff. Buzzing with that. I've got a sore throat, but what a day. What an absolute start to the day, everybody. I don't know where I go from here. Normally, we kind of we wait until the big news. We wait until the end. You know, we get you hooked in, don't we? We start talking about the DDD, discourse, debate, discussion. We get you reeled in, and all of a sudden, McGilligan gets put on the back burner. And we don't know the fee yet. We don't know obviously, it just says agreement in principle. The player has agreed. Leeds United and Lyon have agreed to fee. Now, the whole discourse this morning, interestingly, when it came to Lucas Perri, was going to be on my little notepad, which you guys know I'm filling out every single morning. This is why sometimes I'm late. Now, La Gazzetta were heavily reporting this morning. Now, you guys know I do my research for the Room Mill. La Gazzetta this morning, Italian publication, were reporting very, very unusually, because there's names that I'll go by, names that I'll look at every single day. We'll look at Paixio, we'll look at Muniz, we'll look at Igor Paixao, we'll look at the obvious ones. And La Gazzetta were reporting this morning that Lyon have gone very heavy all of a sudden on Milan goalkeeper Torriani, Lorenzo Torriani. And that came out of absolutely nowhere. And it seemed to just be filling an AC Milan page as well. It seemed to be filling the Twitter sphere and news now. And I was thinking to myself, okay, this has come out of nowhere. This is why it makes sense. Lyon have to go and get him on loan because they are struggling financially at this moment in time. The Brazilian Lucas Perri is, obviously it won't be Paris anyway because he's not French, but it's nice, isn't it? He's coming from France. We'll call him Paris. Lorenzo Torriani is coming in on loan if Lucas was to leave the club. Now that's happening. AC Milan want Torriani to be starting for Lyon as well. They don't want to let him out on loan. And obviously it fixes that financial situation for Lyon right now, which they are in a real problematic state. So maybe Leeds United have been hashing out an agreement for the Brazilian for a while now. Maybe Leeds United have got him on a really good fee. But by God, everybody, doesn't this feel fantastic? Should we have a dance? Can I have a beer at 10:11? I'm not sure I can. But may I tonight? I just might may. You know, that is the goalkeeper position has been a problem for me. And this is why we're partying, everybody. This is why we're doing the samba, you know. The goalkeeper position, you guys know, the OGs know, everybody who's been part of One Leeds for as long as you have, even newbies, the goalkeeper position has been a huge problem for me for 5 years now. I have been going on about this. It was the number one sign. I've been on streams with Gabe. Who do you want to sign first? I don't care about anyone else, Gabe. Number one's goalkeeper. Literally, and what we have to do figuratively. Go and get a goalkeeper. You build from the back. A goalkeeper is so important in a side, and bringing one in of this caliber is something I can't remember. I really can't remember. Now, something to add to this when it comes to his stats. I tell you what, let's get his stats up. Let's get his stats up because we don't want to just look at the done deal. We don't want to look at the bomber. We want to get Lucas Perri's stats up. And I think this has turned into a bit of a Perri stream. Okay, let's have a quick look at his stats from last season. Bearing in mind, he was playing in the Europa League last season as well, by the way, everybody. So average rating. Get off my telly. Get off my telly. I want to get this guy up. Here we go. Lucas Perri, 147 saves last season, 13 clean sheets. Lyon's best player last season, maybe up there with Mikatadze, maybe up there with the obvious one, Ryan Cherky, who knows. But yeah, Lucas Perri was definitely one of the top assets as well. 6'5". 6'5". Love that. Love that. Confident leader from the back, dominates his area. Very well known in France for being dominant in his area. Handling fantastic, kicking very good. I'm just so happy with this one. Makes complete sense for Leeds United. Pretty much fills the void as well when it comes to all these things that we've been missing. No errors, barely any errors in his game. Go have a look at that on FB Ref, wherever you want to look at. Y-Scout, no errors in this guy's game. I'm just a massive fan of this. Go get a beer. Go get a beer. 27 as well. Fantastic, Leeds United. Well done. Well done. 13 million. 13 million. Wow. 49ers, you know. The 49ers. This is why we always say on One Leeds, calm when it comes to it. Let's see what happens when it comes to these guys, because these guys are assassins in this market. They're absolute assassins. 13 million for arguably one of the top keepers in Europe right now. Now, the reason that Lyon are in this situation is because of their financial predicament. So we're not going to get too hyped on that. But if they weren't in the financial predicament, Leeds might not be able to afford someone like Lucas Perri right now. We might not be able to afford him. Lyon need to get rid of him. This is why they're getting Torriani in on loan. This is the predicament they're in. Look, we know the predicament when it comes to financial oblivion. They've been lucky. They were relegated and now they've been, reformed back into Ligue 1. But there's going to be huge problems when it comes to the French side, which none of us like to see. But this is why we've got him on this deal. Leeds clearly negotiating to the nth degree to get him in for a good price. And we know how that feels, all the way when we were in financial oblivion. Harry Kewell leaving us for absolutely nothing. His agent getting half the fee. Do you know what I mean? Plummeting Leeds into it. Lyon and Leeds have clearly gone for a fee, but he's worth more than that. He is worth more than that. Chris, are you happy, mate? Are you happy? Perri, Paixao, Muniz, that's us 12th to 15th. We can offer Meslier their way. Makes sense, 100%, mate. Loving the stream now with proper audio. Audio all good then, everybody. Audio all good. We've gained on it. I've moved the mic a little bit further away. Hopefully it's looking pretty decent. Carl's in the building, one of the main supporters of the channel. Yes, caught you live. And big up to you, Carl, and big up to our 6'5" goalkeeper, my guy. I'm unbelievable hard. Paixao next in the building. Do you know what as well, mate? The big thing about this is fellow countrymen. Okay, fellow countrymen and statement of intent. Bilal coming through the door, massive. Huge Euro 2024 standout. Huge. Anton Stark, one of the top 4 to 6 Bundesliga midfielders, 100%. One of the top 4 to 6 Bundesliga midfielders, I'd say, backed up by stats. And then you're looking now at Lucas Perri, an argument, top 4 Ligue 1 goalkeepers. Massive signing, literally. Okay, let's see what Lee's saying. Conor, Fabrizio Romano saying Leeds agreement for Perri. An update on RMC Sports shares that Leeds are paying 15 million euros, that is. 15 million euros. Chris says it's 7:30 in Sydney, so yes, you can have a beer. Fantastic stuff, mate. I'll make sure I do that, mate. Carl Berry says, 49ers we trust in Leeds and top goalkeeper. Shout out to you, Carl. Thanks again, buddy. This is what I mean. This is what I mean when it comes to it now. We're kind of looking at a scenario that is building from the back. That is, I mean, I don't even know. We were looking at Milinkovic-Savic. Okay, fine. Okay with that. I guess the only marker I had against Milinkovic-Savic was his passing accuracy out from the back. Now, Perry's is, I think, 20% higher. Last time I looked, I think it's in the 70s. So his range of passing is much superior to that of Milinkovic-Savic. Milinkovic-Savic, I was very clued up on. I was very happy with, and I know Gabe was as well, if he's still in the chat. We're all very happy with this. But this guy's got serious pedigree when it comes to Lucas Perri. Milinkovic-Savic was a little bit of an unknown. Going to Napoli will probably do very well. But Lucas Perri is on the European circuit now. He's been on the European circuit for a couple of years, and he is top 3 Lyon players right now. Lyon are no mugs as well. Obviously, unlucky to go out against Manchester United in the Europa not long ago. So this is unbelievable. This is unbelievable. Very, very happy with that. Very happy with that. Guys, can we have some mods in the building as well? Where are the mods at? Jamie, I'm sure you can tell who needs to be going out, mate. 1600 in the building. Make sure you're slapping a like on the video as well, everybody. We're going to be getting into some other bits as well, but I think we just need to marinate a little bit. Get your thoughts in the section below on this. We're going to just marinate, have a look at what is going on the Leeds sphere with this. Leeds United have agreed deal in principle with Olympique Lyonnais for goalkeeper Lucas Perri. Medical booked. But can I just say, let's look overall at this. How much have we spent? What would you say? 75 million. Look at what we're doing. Look at what we're doing. No Sunderland Robins of this one. Perri, Stack, Bilal, all individually. Bilal came in below 20 million. I think it was 19. Stack's coming at 17.4. And Perri has come in at 13 million quid. Massive kudos to the 49ers. Again, This is why you've always got to look at these guys. And as soon as they brought in Tanaka, and we watched Tanaka, and you think to yourself, 3.4 million quid. Wow. And then you watch Tanaka and you look at the value we're probably going to get for Tanaka. And you look at the players that they brought in. You look at Jayden Bogle for just under 5 million quid. You know, for me, you look at Ramazani for 7 million quid. And you think these negotiations are unbelievable. Unbelievable. Ampadu, just 7 million quid. They're just terrific deals. Really, really good deals. So, yeah, I'm extremely happy with this, I have to say. Very, very happy with this. Let's have a quick look at what you guys are saying in the chat. Let's have a look in the comment section below. Hold on, guys. I've lost you a little bit there. I need to bring you back. I'm going this here, there, and everywhere. Right, we're back. Let's have a look. Andrew says, Conor, massive fan of you. Just seen Pelly conceded 5 against Scum, and his handling from crosses aren't good. No, absolutely not, mate. No, his handling from crosses overall is very decent. It's very decent. 6'5" is something you got to bear in mind as well, mate. His jump will be about 7 foot, 7'1", and his handling overall is very decent. You know, he's very commanding of his box. There's a conversation between him and Milinkovic-Savic, who would have been the number one 100%. I think it's quite fine between them. Milinkovic-Savic was one that I think we all looked at and thought, you bring someone like him in, it'd be absolutely fantastic, wouldn't it? Look at the size of the guy. But this guy's a monster as well. He's got a monster, and there's an argument that he's got maybe a bigger reputation in Europe than Milinkovic-Savic right now. So, yeah, as I said, played in Europe last season. You know, conceding 5 against Scum doesn't mean anything, mate. If you watch that game, the defensive lapses that Lyon provided us with in that game was utterly embarrassing. So, yeah, I'm not going to put it on the keeper. I won't look at any of those 5 that he conceded against Man United. Maybe one thinking about it and pointing at Perri when it comes to individual problems. You know, I think he could have got down to maybe the 3rd goal, but overall, no, mate. I'd say that was way more on the. Tim, it's a bit of fun, mate. Grow up. Flipping heck. His comparisons on FB Ref look tasty. They do indeed, mate. They do indeed. How old, says Sonny? He's 27 years of age. How much is he worth? 13 million quid. Well, that he's worth more than that, but we've got him for 13 million quid. Fantastic stuff. And people said we're having a bad window. People said we're having a bad window up the Leeds. It's just about patience, mate. It's about patience. Nice one, the Niners. 100%, everybody. So very, very, very happy with that. Getting married in 2 days, Conor. Any advice? Run away. I'm joking, mate. Have a great time. Okay, let's move on, shall we, everybody, to the next rumour. We've got a few to get through today, to be honest with you. So let's move, if we can move. Hold on a sec. Let's move. Can we move back? Hold on a sec. Hold on. Can we move? Right. Hold on. We're having a bit of dramas here. Oh, I've had a nightmare. I've had a stinker. I've had an absolute stinker. I've just deleted all the stats. No. Right. Hold on. Right. Okay. We're going to go through it. We're going to have to update it as we go, everybody. I've just deleted all of my work this morning. Right. Okay. We're going to start on our other goalkeeper, but you're going to have to bear with me here. It shouldn't be too long, to be fair. Let's get into it. Okay. Illan Meslier. Interesting enough. This guy is apparently... There's interest coming from Leicester City. Leicester City are looking at this moment to replace Mads Hermansen, who looks like he's going to West Ham United. Really good signature by West Ham United, by the way. Apparently, they have held talks internally at Leicester City about Illan Meslier. So keep an eye on that one, everybody. Asmir Begovic is apparently the alternative there. So, yeah, keep an eye on that one. But this would be the end, I would say for Illan Meslier, and that's probably something that we have to discuss when it comes to the goalkeeper. With someone like Lucas Perri coming in, I would suggest that is the end for Illan Meslier. Leeds will be looking for an out there anyway, unless they bring him at number 2 or number 3. But I think Meslier sees himself as the number 1. I think we're all very, very aware of that anyway. I think Meslier sees himself as the top dog. He's very confident. There was interest with Chelsea around about a year and a bit ago, and he said he's not going to move to Chelsea effectively if he's going to be sitting on the bench. That was pretty much verbatim. But yeah, so when you're looking at Leicester right now, they may need a goalkeeper. Asmir Begovic, is he going to be the replacement? We'll have to wait and see. But if we can pie Illan Meslier off for a nice little fee, You know, we bought him in for 5 million quid. We've got to think about that profit on him as well, which I think would be decent. You know, could you maybe get 6 or 7 million quid for him, make a profit on Illan Meslier? That would be outrageous from the 49ers again, but I'm not putting anything past them. We're going to get into some Mateo Joseph bits in a little bit as well, which is interesting when it comes to his valuation and what the 49ers are looking at. But in particular, when it comes to Illan Meslier, if Leeds United can get a fee for this guy, I mean, flipping heck. Any keeper on Leeds' radar, mate? Yeah, mate, just need to go to the start of the stream. I'll drive him to Leicester. Jim Jam says, Conor, what's your next position, must-fill position? To be honest, mate, I'm pretty chilled now. I'm pretty chilled, I have to say. For the rumour mill, we're going to get onto it in just a little bit. We're going to talk about Igor Paixao. But I would say Rodrigo Muniz, that would be a lovely addition. But I think the next one is going to be Igor Paixao. And we are going to speak about that in just a little bit. Steve says, Melee plus a free toaster might seal the deal. Oh, God. Kirsch, how you doing, mate? Underwood making critics look like fools. What a job that man is doing. It's not bad, is it, mate, for your first induction? For your first induction, we can't really criticise. And if they get Paixao through the door, if they get Rodrigo Muniz through the door, and then they fill out the depth, they get a fullback cover. You know, he's already said centre-back sorted. So that says to me that we're not going to get rid of Pascal Strout, which I absolutely love. And you got to think about the beginning of the season as well, when Leeds United are going to be going up against Everton without Jacobiol, because he's obviously going to be suspended. Great rule that, Serie A and UEFA. Well done. It's not Serie A, to be fair. It is UEFA, but absolutely ridiculous rule that suspensions are carried over. Doesn't make any sense. However, you know, you kind of got to be looking at that right now, and you've got to be thinking about if there is ever a point at which Jacobiol does not feature for Leeds United. Leeds are kind of facing that stark reality now, in a sense. Bornau is injured, and apparently he's going to be back for the AC Milan fixture, which is good, but he's going to miss the Villarreal fixture. But if there ever is an occasion where Jacobiol is injured, or Joe Rodon is injured, of which Jacobiol played 34 times out of 34 periods of which he could have played last season, so he was always available for Udinese. Rodon played virtually, I think he played every single game for us, didn't he? So there is availability there, dependability, reliability. However, what we've got to bear in mind is there are freak occasions like this where you need a very, very good backup. Pascal Strout is a very, very good backup. If needed, some would question why Pascal isn't starting 100%. Okay, let's have a quick look. Did you see Baron Cross's tweet, Conor? Let's have a little bit of a look, mate. I'm live, so I won't have done. We are going to get into a few bits of what he said. Yes, we are going to get into a few bits of what he said, mate. So, yeah, no worries on that one. And we're going to talk on that. Taxi for Meslier. Would Meslier stay for competition, mate? If there's competition, then I would be, with Perri, I would be a little bit worried. I have to say I would be a little bit worried with that one. I think what Leeds need to do is, if they get rid of Meslier, which I think they've got to do, and they can get a fee for him, Leicester, who knows? You know, if they get a decent fee in for Mads Hermansen, which could be maybe 15 million quid. I don't know. I don't know what the valuation of Hermansen is. But if they're able to do that, fantastic. If they're able to do that, you push Darlow down to number 3. You go get a number 2 in. That's how I would be looking at it. I bring in a youngster who could come in at number 2 and almost learn off Perri. That's what I'll be looking at. And you don't even have to distinguish a 2 and a 3. You know, you could put Darlow up to 2 if you want, and then the youngster can, in time, fill that number 2 role. But I think they've got to get another one in. You know, for my thought process anyway. Having peri sauce on everything now, definitely, mate. James says, great business with our incomings. Interesting to see how much we can get on the outgoings. I think that's and Lucia, sorry for being late, Conor. Good to see you in here, pal. What happened with Perri? Is it rumour? No, it's a medical phase, mate. Leeds United, Fabrizio Romano, bomber. Fabrice Hawkins, bomber, which is an even bigger one, by the way, on the French circuit. Apparently, Leeds United are racing to get this one done, which is very, very exciting indeed. Make sure you slap a like on the video, everybody. Carl says, compare Underwood to Orta. Stepped up big time. I think what I've noticed so far is, I think with Victor, and look, we all, by the way, guys, this is a vapor up the nose, nothing else. Sorry, I'm dying. But what you've got to notice as well with Orta is there were some deals that he got done that were really decent. But I thought, and obviously when you reflect on Leeds United, you reflect on what we did. I think a lot of it was overpaying, and I think we did that a lot. You know, it's 2020, isn't it? Everybody's 2020 over this sort of stuff. Hindsight's a wonderful thing. But overall, what I would say about it is Orta spent a lot of money. Leeds spent a lot of money. Leeds gave big contracts out, big contracts out as well, which a lot of people forget is money. You know, it's a lot of money. A contract is worth said amount. It might be worth 20 million. It might be worth 25 million quid as well. You know, so you're looking at the initial fee, you look at the wage structure on top of that, and then that is compiled into how much this transfer is worth. So what I'm noticing with Underwood, and it's very early on, and Leeds haven't spent big yet. You got to think like that. But I think this interesting thing with Paixao is, and Underwood's been at Leeds a long time now. I believe it crossed over with when Orta was there as well. I'm sure it did. Obviously, when he was in the understructure, we will call it. He'll have seen all this, and he'll have seen the change at Leeds United, and he'll have seen what maybe the discussions with Hammond were, and he'll have seen the first season in the Championship, the chaos that ensued with us when it came to players having loan clauses in the contracts if we got relegated. So he'll have seen this. He'll have learned from all this. And Leeds United will be a wiser club because of Victor Orta and because of that structure that they saw. The 49ers were a minority shareholder there. So we can all have this conversation and go, oh, well, they were in the room. They were in the room when Leeds signed, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, but they're a minority shareholder. They're a minority ownership model when it comes to, you know, Ramazani, who had the majority. Yeah, they'd have to say, but overall, Ramazani, who we knew towards the end when he was coming out and speaking about things, he maybe wasn't as in control as he once was. And in an interview, he actually said that he wishes he'd have had more control and not given as much control over. So what does that tell you when it comes to maybe Orta and Kinnear? You know, lunatics running the asylum with the greatest of respect. They brought Marcelo Bielsa and we were in the Premier League. We finished 9th. So you can't say that. You can't absolutely, you know, lambast them. But what you can say is there was a lot of financial decisions there which were horrendous, absolutely horrendous. I like Rodrigo, but bringing Rodrigo in at 29 on 30 million quid, and then the wages where he became the top earner at Leeds United, and we put him on a 4 or 5 year contract or whatever it was, when we didn't even know where he played, with the greatest of respect. Brendan Aronson, Austrian Bundesliga, bringing him in for 30 million quid. Dan James, we love Dan, but bringing him in for 25 plus add-ons, of which we only paid off last year fully. You know, 25 million quid, Man United's 4th highest ever sale in their history. So I think what you're seeing now with Underwood is quality players come in, and Leeds United, by the way, not just Underwood, but quality players coming in. But Leeds United are negotiating. We're not just paying over the odds to get players in. Some have criticised another promoted club for doing that. You know, I'm reserving judgment on that and waiting until the end of the window to see how that works out. But what we've got to bear in mind right now is negotiation is absolutely key. And I know we're all impatient. I know we all want signings now, flipping heck, everybody. When I've been doing the rumour mill at points, I've been like, God, give me something. You know, there was a bleak period for about 5 days where there was nothing, absolutely nothing. But when it comes to Paixao, when it comes to Muniz, the long game is critical here. It really is key, because you can't just say, pay the money, Leeds. I've seen that a lot online. Pay the money, pay the money. You can't do that, because then we get into the realm of exactly what we're in when we're in financial problems. We can't do that. You've got to be shrewd. You've got to negotiate. At the very beginning, Anton Stack, massive reports out in Germany were suggesting they wanted 25 million quid plus. Leeds got him 17.4 million quid. Gazzetta dello Sport were talking about Jacobiol being close to 30 million euros. Leeds getting for 19 million quid. Lucas Perri, right at the beginning of the window, was being spoken about as if he was going to be 25 million euros. Leeds getting for 13 million quid. So it's all part of negotiation. It's all about playing the long game. Fulham have said 50 million quid for Rodrigo Muniz. That ain't going to happen. There's no way Leeds are paying 50 million quid for Rodrigo Muniz. So you got to negotiate. You got to find yourself in between a little bit. Paixao will get onto it in just a little bit. Negotiation has to happen there, because Leeds are not going to pay 36 million euros for him. It's just not going to happen, in my opinion. You know, we've been talking about Rodrigo Muniz and Igor Paixao, and Baron Cross has pretty much confirmed it today, being a combined fee of like 60 million quid. If they were to do it, that's what Leeds are looking at. So then we're not paying 50 million quid for Rodrigo Muniz, are we? And you can't say, just go pay the money, Leeds, because that's just not negotiating. That is very much in your Victor Orta realm. You know, and that's not to diminish the negotiations that he put in for certain players. Of course not. We got Rafinha for 18 million flipping quid. But overall, the structure was a little bit wayward, in my opinion. Okay. Buzzing for this news, Conor. 100%, mate. Conor, Leeds are ready to sell Joseph, but a club will have to offer a deal worth 30 million before they can sign Spanish strikers in the oncoming window. Yeah, cheers for that, Lee, as always, buddy. Personally, I'm just going to wait and see how the friendlies at Ellen Road and in Dublin go before I make any judgment on how the team is. Individually looks great. Just interested to see how it gels. Agree, man. I think that's a smart way of doing it. 7 signings for 70 million, Conor. The Stealth Warriors strike again, averaging 10 million quid a signing, mate. It's not bad, is it? Not bad. What will happen to Strouk, says Tin. Now they got Biol. I think it's just competition, mate. I think in football it's healthy. I think it's really healthy to have competition, and they're all battling it out for certain positions. I know people always turn around and say, look, you know, it's said position, it's so-and-so's position. That's not necessarily true. It's not necessarily true. You know, how we've got to look at it is very much like Strouk is going to be competing with Biol. Biol is going to be competing with Rodon. I hate that notion. The notion that, it's Rodon's, it's Biol's. No, it's not. It's up for competition. And that's how you drive success. Competition is everything in football teams. That's why the great one, Marcelo Bielsa, wanted 2 players for every position. You know, you've got to drive competition. Yeah, you simply have to. Okay, let's get on to the next rumor, shall we? Out of the notepad, everybody. It was the fantastic Lucas Perri, but we've gone over that right at the beginning of the show. And yeah, the Fabrizio bomber. Okay, so now we're going to touch on Mr. Charlie Cresswell, everybody. And this is a little bit more positive maybe than we think. I know, look, people are going to be a little bit aggy at what's happened with Charlie, and I completely understand that. Now, according to several reports over the last couple of days, this guy might be heading to Liverpool. Yes, Anfield Watch, Anfield Edition. We've also got a very good reporter in Sam C Reports as well, who gets a heck of a lot right. All reporting that Charlie Cresswell is of very, very high interest to Liverpool. Now, why does this concern Leeds United? According to reports, Leeds United, as we know, have a 15% sell-on clause. Toulouse are talking in and around a 15 to 20 million quid margin. Now, that hasn't been completely confirmed as to whether or not that's euros or pounds, but 15 million has been the rumoured fee. Now, we know earlier on in the window as well, when it came to West Ham United, who were keen on the young English international, they were talking, or reports very close to West Ham were talking, in and around 13 to 15 million quid. So that would align with what we're talking about with Charlie. Now, us letting him go for 4 million quid was a black mark on the Leeds United name in recent times for a young England international who captains the England international side. For us to let him go for 4 million quid because of a little dispute in the ranks, maybe between Richard and Daniel Farker, was absolutely abhorrently bad. And when it comes to negotiation there, that's where the 49ers fell down a little bit, because you should never, ever let a player go for that amount in this day and age, especially a player of Charlie's caliber and Charlie's reputation. So what do we know now? I think when it comes to the Arnie slot system, it doesn't make a lot of sense. We all know with Charlie's weaknesses, for me, a defender, he got overblown a little bit how bad he was on the ball, but I think against the press, in a possession heavy system, I think Charlie would struggle. I think as well, when you're looking at a high line, I would maybe look at Charlie's recovery pace, of which I know in football now it's not everything, and Liverpool will dominate games. But if Liverpool are coming up against top opposition, and at any stage Charlie Cresswell is at centre-back, which won't happen in the near future, of course, but he's getting to that stage in his career where he needs to be playing regular minutes. If Charlie is playing in a high line, I would worry if I was Liverpool when it comes to that recovery pace. So I don't see this being a thing. Maybe it's just agent talk again. I do see him coming to the Premier League. I do see that happening, but maybe a little bit more of a lower league club of which Charlie's playing. Regularly. 15% sell on for Charlie. I think Lee's just said something about Romano again. We're just going to have a quick look at this. What's he saying now? Fabrizio Romano. Let's have a look. I don't know if I'm missing something, mate. Let's have a quick look. Deal in principle with Olympic Lyonnais goalkeeper. Yeah, I don't think I'm missing anything there, mate. Sorry about that. Okay, interesting as well. Alexander Isak has not travelled with Newcastle to Singapore. Interesting. Keep an eye on that one. Okay, this makes no sense, honestly. No, it doesn't, mate. It doesn't at all. Smash a like. Really appreciate that, pal. Thank you so much. Perry is ours. He is indeed. And with that, I am off to bed. Good riddance. Right, okay, let's move on to the next rumour on the mill, shall we, everybody, today? And this is the one that we've all been waiting for. Are you ready? Are you steady, everybody? This is the rumour you all want to talk about. This is the rumour you're all excited about. This is the rumour that you are here for. It's Josh Sargent. Okay, so Josh Sargent has apparently rejected a move to Wolfsburg. It was all in the planning stages. Wolfsburg were keen. Apparently, Sargent was keen. His representatives were on it. Norwich were thinking, flipping it. We've already got his replacement in the striker that they brought in from, I think it's Kvistgaarden, who apparently is a very, very good striker. They brought him in for 11 million quid. Sargent, surplus to requirements. You look at the new striker, he's got all the attributes of Josh Sargent. You're thinking to yourself, from a Leeds United perspective, he's not on the list anymore. We know Farke likes him. Just Daniel, no. Let's not reinvigorate. Let's not go back there. Well, he's rejected a move to Wolfsburg. He doesn't want to go back to the Bundesliga. Okay, so the interested clubs now, according to the Pinken, are still Leeds United and Burnley. Now, if we were to go from Rodrigo Muniz to Josh Sargent, I might need to lie down. I might go on the 49ers bandwagon. I'm joking. That will never happen. Or unless they prove me wrong and bring in Josh Sargent for 20 million quid. But no, guys, I don't think this will happen. I think the likelihood is actually when you're looking at Burnley's structure going forward with Zian Fleming, I don't know what's going on with Lyle Foster, but when you look at their forward line in particular, their centre forward, Pawn, I think it's more likely that they'll go in for Sargent. And I actually think that they were inquiring about him beforehand. Do I think Leeds were interested in him in the Championship? Yes, probably. Do I think Leeds would have been interested in many players in the Championship? Yes, probably. Are Leeds going to get continuously linked with this guy because of Farke? Yes, probably. But I'm absolutely fine with him coming absolutely nowhere near Leeds United. One Jack Reeve, who could be watching, said that I was bitter one time. He said I was bitter online because I, said Josh Sargent wasn't good enough for Leeds United when he clearly is. He's absolutely not. We are looking at a higher bracket than Mr. Joshua of Sargentshire. So, yeah, I think that is going to be a Burnley signing. Go to Burnley. Exactly, everybody. Go to Burnley. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm looking for. Anyway, so okay, let's move on to the next one, shall we? Let's move on to the next rumour on the mill today. So we move on from Josh Sargent, and then we move to the controversial one, the one of which. I might just put Mateo. I might put him up again just to annoy a certain few. We're going to this guy, Mateo Joseph. So, this kind of sparked a few yesterday when it came to the comment sections. And get your thoughts in the comment section below as well. As always, everybody, when it comes to him. So, obviously, we know that he's going to be leaving Leeds United at some stage. Now, Sebastian Vidal, who how do I put this without being being respectful. Sort of here and there when it comes to transfers, so take it with a pinch of salt. The sort of research that I was doing this morning put it figuratively as Leeds United, Real Betis are looking for around about an £8.7 million bid, and they're not looking to go any higher than that for Mateo Joseph, which I think is extraordinary. After I believe they went for an £8.5 million bid in January, 10 million euros, which was abruptly rejected, of course. And then 8.7 million quid is what they've gone to. They're apparently now leading the race over Celta Vigo today. So Sebastian Vidal has tweeted this morning that Leeds United rejected Real Betis' offer for Mateo Joseph, deeming it nowhere near their valuation. Good that we've learned. The Premier League side want either a dry loan, love that, absolutely love that, because then we reap the rewards when it comes to a loan, or a 15 to 20 million euro permanent deal. Mateo Joseph is pushing for the move, but Betis refused to meet the price. Well, he's not going then. Simply, he's not going. A dry loan would probably aid them. I'm guessing. I'm guessing that would help Betis because they're going to get a player through the door, of course. But to say that you're not moving and you're going to go 0.2 million quid, if reports are to be believed, you're going to go 0.2 million quid higher than the valuation you put in January, and you think Leeds are going to budge, there is way too much of a gap between Leeds' valuation and Betis' valuation there. Betis clearly value him at 10 million euros max. If you're going to go a little bit further, 10.2 million euros max. Leeds United evidently value him at near on the 15 to 20 million euro mark, so probably around about 13 million quid. So that 3 to 4 million, especially when they're trying to deal with their striker at this moment in time when it comes to Borja and Iglesias, might be a little bit of a step too far. Money is money, as Japol said. You come in with a bid, and this hard negotiation, this ruthless negotiation that Leeds United need to have. They need to have learned from this Charlie Cresswell saga, which I have to say, the Charlie Cresswell saga felt very much like Leeds just want him out of the building. When it comes to Mateo Joseph and his refusal to come to Germany, which I didn't like, I have to be honest with you. The transfer request, which I'm okay with, it happens, but the refusal to come to Germany, that word was pretty damning. You can still facilitate a move in the background, even if you're playing in Germany. It might even help your cause. Although, as we were speaking about with Alexander Isak, when players want to force a move, they will force a move. It's just the way of football, unfortunately, and the way of the world now. But Mateo wants the move. I'm sure, Betis were in a European final this season as well. It'd be a great move for him. I think how this is going to work itself out, which is interesting when it comes to a PSR standpoint, because obviously Leeds wouldn't gain anything from it, dependent on if they're paying a percentage of the loan fee. When you look at it, Leeds United, I don't think should sell for anything. I mentioned this yesterday. Selling for anything less than 10 million quid, I think would be absolutely outrageous. Absolutely outrageous. I personally think this guy's got a very, very upward trajectory in his career. I think with the right manager, in a sense, because I don't think it's fair to maybe say, even though Farke believed in him earlier on in the season, it's evident that there's not a meshing there when it comes to potentially styles or potentially when it comes to mentality, agreement, whatever you want to call it. And that's not a disparaging comment on Farke or Joseph, but it's clearly not meshing. If you get a manager who is playing him as an out-and-out 9 every single week and putting the full belief in him, and no matter even if he has troughs, he will have peaks. So you just stick with him. I think you're going to get probably the best out of Mateo Joseph. I do see him as a confidence player. You've seen him develop last year physically. I think there is a player in there, and you've seen that for the Spanish under-21s, and reports in the Spanish media suggest that they are still effectively getting him ready for the Spanish national side. They look at him as that when it comes to a prospect. So there is a player there. Leeds United have got to understand his value, and that is, I guess, one of Orta's big things as well. He brought Mateo Joseph in, isn't he? So. That's fantastic, really, when it comes to it. Perri is done. Everybody's talking about Perri, obviously, the goalkeeper who Leeds United are looking at. Agreement effectively done. Leeds' new number 1. Let's talk about it. Appearances 45, goals conceded 60. Save percentage 75%. This is what I was talking about with the pass completion rate, which Milinkovic-Savic doesn't have in terms of build up from the back in the 70s, 73%. Yeah, like it a lot. Okay, next rumor. I really liking the squad, says Lucas. We're building. Muniz should really be priority over Paixao, but if we can get both, it will be amazing. Better reporting backward is an option if we miss out on Paixao. Yeah, so not so bad. Yeah, it's interesting when it comes to backward. I see him more as there's a bit of variation there, more of a fullback as well. I know he was utilised as a fullback as well last season. I still think they're all step downs, in my opinion. I think they're all step downs from Paixao. I think Paixao is the guy. Guys, we've got 2,100 of you in the building. Record numbers for the Rumour Mill. Hello, welcome. If you are new, slap a like on the video. We're closing, I think, on 47,000 subscribers. Thank you so much for your continuous support. Perri at 6%. Meslier was at -3. Yeah, let's move on to the next rumour on the mill, shall we? Okay, so the one this time I'm not gonna mug you off. Don't worry. Okay. Get into it. The boy. Okay. What do we have? Igor Paixao, the latest. Zinny Boswell, Anthony Joseph, all or both, I should say, of Sky Sports, and appear very regularly on this Sky Sports Centre broadcast they have every single day, next to Darmesh and others who are reliable in the Sky Sports world. Okay. Leeds are monitoring Igor Paixao. Now, this whole stuff does made him when it comes to transfer phraseology. I've mentioned this before. Monitoring, shout out Lee Gunner. Monitoring, looking at, flirting with, fancying Leeds, just say Leeds are making a bid. That'd be nice, even though we're not. Keep us a bit excited there. Okay, so Olympique Marseille have bid 26 million quid. Nothing agreed. Okay, so I think what you've kind of got now is Marseille walking away. Obviously, they've got other targets which they didn't want to publicise because they didn't want other clubs to ramp up. I've got a sneaky feeling it might be Armand Loriente, with obviously his French links as well at Rennes, but nothing agreed. Similar player in a sense to Igor Paixao as well, replicates some of the tendencies. And apparently, according to Sky Sports, Leeds believe, keyword, Marseille are struggling to meet the demands. Okay. So Football Europa this morning stuck out there that Leeds United have submitted a bid near to 40 million euros and they are waiting for a Feyenoord response. Personal terms, albeit a lot of people are saying that, he's picked Marseille over Leeds. Well, guys, reality, we are a newly promoted side. I don't want him. He's picked Marseille over Leeds. Okay, well, then we're probably not going to get a lot of targets then, If a club with Champions League football had come in for Perri, do you reckon he'd be coming to Leeds United? No, he wouldn't. It just wouldn't happen. So, yeah, I don't think it's something to look at, to be honest with you. Now, what we have to bear in mind with Football Europa, I have to say this, is their following isn't great. The guy who reported it, his following isn't great. There is a few people suggesting that he's got a few things right. A few people suggest that he's got a few things wrong. I do think in the modern day of sports journalism on social media, you have to look at the following. I just think you have to, because following a lot of the time when it comes to sports journalists is built up because of reputation. People follow you because they're like, oh, you're reliable, you're dependable, you have a lot of, spills when it comes to news. That's why you get Romano and Ornstein. And, even the Leeds top journalists having the most followings when it comes to our local sources. So got to bear that in mind. Personal terms, not an issue. Now, the thing is, when you're kind of looking at this overall, is the first half is evidently correct. Leeds United are not, Marseille are not going to, I don't think, going to spend more than probably 26 million euros. That takes them beyond 26 million quid. That takes them beyond or nearing around 30 million euros. The asking price, which we know from Feyenoord, is 36 million euros, apparently. So if Leeds United can get close to that, which if we're monitoring the situation, I mentioned earlier on, that will be in negotiation. I don't think the issue will be with the personal terms, because we know previously Paixao, I should say, has said that he wants to play in the Premier League. This is apparently very good from his representatives close, or at least Dutch media have said that he wants to play in the Premier League, as every player seems to say now. Jacobi or Anton Stack all saying the same thing. We know that he loves Rafinha as well, so they've sold that to him. They'll have gone heavy on that. Leeds also haven't been diced out of negotiations, so this is still going on right now. Now, realistically, could Marseille come in again with a massive bid? Yeah, they could. That could happen. But how far can they go? They're bringing in, or they've brought in Aubameyang. They're bringing in, or they've brought in as well Tim Weah. Can they go out and spend a massive amount of money? Now, 26 million pounds is a lot of money. It's a lot of money, So this is going to have to play. I think this is going to go on for the whole summer. I'll be honest with you. I don't think there's going to be a close, I don't think there's going to be an end sight here at all when it comes to Paixao coming to Leeds United. I think it's going to be a long-term saga, similarly to that of Muniz, and I think these two are going to be drawn out. I think they're going to be drawn out for a long period of time, and I think we're going to probably know maybe touching on the season if they're coming to Leeds or they're not coming to Leeds. Now, there is also a big likelihood here that he could stay at Feyenoord. Big likelihood here. They could price everybody out of it, and we've mentioned that as well when it's come to the sell-on clause. We don't know what the specificity of that sell-on clause is, but if that sell-on clause is similar to that of a Charlie Cresswell sell-on clause, which basically means that, if Leeds do sell him on in the future, Feyenoord will get a big percentage of this. That is maybe something that Underwood and co are trying to negotiate down. The actual upfront fee might be absolutely okay, and according to reports, Leeds are fine with the upfront fee, but negotiation is still carrying on. Now, what we have to bear in mind as well is this whole just go and pay the money. It doesn't work like that. It does not work like that, and we've got to be logical here when it comes to just trying to take that emotion out of it. You got to think, he's in negotiation right now with Marseille. They're in negotiation. Marseille haven't formally walked away yet. Okay. They could put another bid in. They will still be talking to Feyenoord. Okay. Now, if they do put another bid in, that's something that's going to prick our ears as well, because Leeds are playing second fiddle. Leeds are playing second fiddle right now because they're a Champions League club. A newly promoted side, albeit a newly promoted side in the Premier League, has a 90% likelihood that we're going straight back down. Okay. Marseille don't have that likelihood. You know, they did extremely well last season. De Zerbi's a top European coach. The likelihood is that Paixao, and he's already confirmed it anyway, that he wants to go to Marseille. That is just what it is. You just got to deal with that, people. Leeds aren't the biggest club in the world. We've got to turn around and go, right, okay, we've got to sit, we've got to wait around. And it seems like when you're reading every single report, according to Dutch media, when it comes to even Brazilian media speaking about it, Leeds are waiting around. There's a reason we're waiting around. You know, we've probably already said to Feyenoord, we'll match it. But it depends on Marseille. It's all extremely dependent on Marseille. Now, interestingly, something like Lucas Perri, you might get maybe Igor Paixao turning around and going, oh, you know, you might be looking at it and going, okay, you know, Leeds are moving in the right way here. And they might, you know, include that with negotiation. They might turn around and say, look at what we've done here. And he might go, okay, you know, one of the French top goalkeepers. We've then got one of the Bundesliga top midfielders when it comes to stats and reputation. Could we get one of the, you know, the Dutch league, or if not the Dutch league's best player? Who knows? So we'll have to wait and see. We'll have to wait and see. Okay, let's move on to some of your comments as well. It's important to have the key positions sorted at the start of the season, but you can make other signings later on in the window. That is true. I don't know if I want to be starting the season. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But starting the season, maybe with Nemecha up front. I like Nemecha, but you'd like to go with an absolute demon up front, wouldn't you? Henry says, Paixao is brilliant, but there are many other positions we need to focus on, like a striker and a backup at fullback. Yeah, I agree with you, mate. I agree with you. And I think that's a solid point. I look at Ramazani. I think he could start in the Premier League. I do. I think he could start in the Premier League. Now, I mentioned earlier on that there might have needed to be a bit of development in Ramazani's game from last season, of which I'm still on that, you know, mindset. He could have elevated to another level, but unfortunately didn't get as many minutes as we'd have all wanted. When I've seen him in pre-season, I've been so impressed. And this whole notion that pre-season doesn't matter is a load of rubbish. In my opinion, it's a load of rubbish. Of course, pre-season matters. Of course, it matters when it comes to player fitness, when it comes to players trying to prove themselves, which I think is absolutely massive in pre-season. You know, you've got to prove yourself. If you prove yourself in pre-season, that's how Mateo Joseph got his chance. So if Mateo Joseph didn't have pre-season last season, he wouldn't have started for Leeds United in the Championship last season. But he did because of pre-season, which Daniel Farke confirmed. So of course, pre-season matters. You know, it's all about proving yourself. You know, if Laji Ramazani puts in 10 out of 10 performances and scores 6 goals in pre-season, nobody's going to be spitting feathers about Laji Ramazani starting the opening game on the left-hand side against Everton. They're not. Again, it's a completely different standard of opposition, but at the same time, it's still doing the business in pre-season, which Daniel Farke has almost offered out as a meritocracy anyway. And we've seen that with the likes of Jack Harrison. This is your chance in pre-season. So, of course, pre-season matters when it comes to player development. So, but Laji Ramazani, for me, as you guys always know, I think he's got the ability to step up to the Premier League. I think Willie Gnonto has. I think Dan James has. I think a lot of our wingers we've invested in so well in either the Championship or previously in the Premier League when it comes to Dan James and Gnonto, and kept a hold of them, that I think they can acclimatise. As you guys quite rightly know, I think overall, Ramazani, the full package, is a better player than Manor Solomon. Now, and a lot of you guys go, Conor, what on earth? Blah, blah, blah. And you'll click off the video. Football's subjective. There's always a group of mates, and there's one of the group of mates in the group who you'll turn around to and go, what? What are you talking about, mate? That's just my personal opinion as an all-rounded footballer. And I think his pace, his explosiveness, his agility, his shot efficiency will absolutely acclimatise to the Premier League. But I could be wrong, you know? So I don't have a problem with him starting the season on the left-hand side at all. At all. So I agree with you what you're saying, mate. But I think, yeah, Rodrigo Muniz starting up top. The goalkeeper was huge. Lucas Perri was massive because you can't start a Premier League season with Meslier. You can't start a Premier League season with Darla. You just can't. So we'll have to wait and see on that one. Live score, I've just sent something out. So I wonder if that's like a bit of a confirmation. Yep, agree deal. RMC, 15 million euros. So yeah, but the depth is huge, mate, because you've got to look at the fall down to someone like Gabby Goodmanson if he gets injured. That can't be Sam Byram. He just can't be in the Premier League. You can't have Sam, as much as we love him and as much as he was great last season for us and for a free signing was excellent. Dependability, reliability, he's injured a hell of a lot. And he's not good enough on that left-hand side to sustain any sort of press or build-up. So, yeah, you need to get fullback cover in there. But that was kind of confirmed, which is good. So, yeah, as we go, we'll wait and see. I reckon Nonto is going to cook the season, Conor. People are saying new signing is going to be the standout. I'm with Nonto 100%, mate. Solomon was a huge part of the success last season. Needs to be replaced in a solid team this year. What I'd say, Jace, is that is true. That is true, but we didn't see a lot of Largy last season. So Largy could, in effect, be the Solomon replacement, and then we could get someone on top as well. That's what it could be as well. I want Paixao over Muniz every day of the week. Oh, Steve, mate, we'll turn it down, but I can't win. I cannot win. Right, what? The stream's too loud now. Is that a bit better? Is that a bit better? Stream's too loud. Stream's too quiet. I can't win. Flipping it. Some sources are talking that we did a £30 million bid. Yeah, I've seen that as well, mate. So let's get on to Rodrigo Muniz, shall we? Let's get on to him. Okay, Rodrigo Muniz. What's the latest? What is the latest? Okay. Okay. Thanks, Zach. Appreciate that, mate. Appreciate that. Yeah, happy birthday to Solomon. Too quiet now. Flipping heck. Right, leave it as it is. Are we all good? Keep it as it is. Flipping heck, man. I can't win, can I? I can't win. Right, we're all good. We're all good. Keep the sound. Oh, God. Right, okay. Rodrigo Muniz. So let's get into him, shall we? So the scenario is Fulham are looking at now, well, when you're looking at sources very, in and around the English media, Fulham don't want to sell. Okay, that can be part of negotiation. But the latest on Rodrigo Muniz, Leeds submitted a £32 million bid, which was rejected. Obviously, that's pounds as well. That's a lot of money. On the back of that, Carlos Vinicius has gone, one of Fulham's strikers. Something that we have to bear in mind, and we've not touched on a lot. Raul Jimenez is nearly 35. Okay? And you kind of look at that partnership with Muniz, and when you look at Jimenez and when they featured together last season, it was a little bit of the senior and the young gun. Muniz at the time was, 23? Jimenez was 33, 34. Okay? This, I think, and we talk about Paixio, the conversations from inside Fulham are that if Muniz was to leave, they'd go in for Ricardo Pepi, the American who plays for PSV. 6'1", similar in a sense. But publicly, the Fulham statement is that he's not for sale. He is not for sale. And this does hark me back to one negotiation that Leeds United, cheers Japples, yeah. To one negotiation, and that was that of Ben White. When continuously, for a similar price, we were being told that he's not for sale, he's not for sale, he's not for sale. And you had, obviously, at the time, learning off the likes of Dunk, and at the time, Dan Burn, and Ben White being obviously the young protege coming through with which they could look at. I think even with Paixao, this is going to be the toughest deal. Because you've got someone who scored 11 goals last season, 13 goal contributions. Vinicius gone, Carlos Vinicius, one of the strikers, and Jimenez touching 35 years of age. So their one guarantee in the Premier League, Fulham, is our boy Rodrigo Muniz. Now, people would say, well, Conor, they can go out and get another one. Well, they can, but it's a risk. They can double up on maybe another two strikers, get Romelu in, go and get, Ricardo Pepi in as well. It's a risk. So maybe at the beginning of the stream when I was saying 50 million, are you joking? We might be looking at a very, very substantial fee for this guy. And I do wonder how far Leeds will go with this. I know Leeds are in negotiation. There's been nothing new when it comes to Rodrigo Muniz. Sometimes no news is good news. Leeds have been cryptic when it comes to his social media posts, which is very much just based on what they want it to be, because he's not said anything leading whatsoever. So, yeah, it's interesting to look at this. It's interesting to see the development. We do see it with Paixio a little bit. I think Rodrigo Muniz is a needle mover as much as Paixao is, to be honest with you. You know, you can't go in and buying someone who's got 11 goals in the Premier League, someone who is Leeds United's #1 target, according to Baron Cross, and has been Leeds United's #1 target throughout the window. We've got alternatives when it comes to Paixao, Black Bakwa, who's been mentioned as well, at Strasbourg, I believe, and some of the chat, some of you guys have mentioned it. But when it comes to Rodrigo Muniz, it feels like he's our #1, and we are just continuously trying to work in the background for that. So I don't know. I don't know how this is going to work. I don't know how late we leave this, but it gives me shudders of Ben White. It just gives me shudders of Ben White, and how much this will go on is going to be fascinating. It really is. Conor is too good looking. Turn the ugly up. Aaron, I love you, mate. I'll send you that 50 quid in the post later on, pal. How can it be too loud to turn you volume? I don't think they are trolling, mate. I'm telling you, because there's people saying it in the comment section afterwards, but I ain't moving it. If you can't hear it, you can't hear it. It is what it is, guys. On the post stuff, it all sounds fine to me, and I'm deaf as well. I've worked in a factory before, so I'm deaf. 35 million for Money's top. Save the money and put it towards Paixao. Just the Leeds thing says, just seen this, and I'm so excited and so happy with Lucas Perri. What a signing. Yes, indeed, mate. Indeed. Yeah, good stuff. On another note, Conor, I live 40 mile away from Balbriggan, and I can tell you it's a you-know-what hole. Well, we're not staying there anymore, mate, so don't worry. Don't worry, we're not staying there anymore. So what else has Baron put on his latest piece, everybody? So interesting, and this is one that I keep saying this, don't I? But prick my ears again. Now, I've been going on about a certain number 10, if Leeds United to go down this route, for quite a while now. Obviously, we've spoken about Hamer. I do love Gus Hamer. I think Hamer would be a really nice addition to this Leeds United setup. I'm getting a little bit less certain that Leeds United are moving towards a number 10. And I'm going to explain why in just a second, as I just move to my notes. But this was almost not confirmed by Daniel Farke, but it was really interesting. I'm going to get onto this just in a little bit in terms of the friendly that we faced the other day, I had the other day. So Bilal El Khannouss is the one I would be going for. I mentioned this before. If there was like an almost hierarchy of who I'd be going for, and we've mentioned number 10s before, but it will be Bilal El Khannouss, and then it might be like Dewsbury Hall, who Fulham are actually interested in, and then maybe Gus Hamer. You know, that is potentially a 3. Dewsbury Hall, you could say, is probably a number 8. To be fair, he can do more than what a number 10 can do, in my opinion. He's got the creative, the innovative side of his game, but also he's a bit box-to-box as well. I think with Khannouss, from a defensive perspective, he's very decent as well, as is Hamer. But I think, you know, your Dewsbury Hall is a little bit more of an all-round midfielder in comparison to these two. Now, Baron Cross has actually confirmed in his latest piece that Leeds United have tracked him and Bakwa, who obviously Bakwa is the alternative, if you will, to Igor Paixao on the wing. El Khannouss is a number 10. So these are targets that Leeds United have had, but now they're not active, which takes me back to something that we were speaking about on the Rumour Mill not long ago, and it was very much about Leeds United not going for a number 10. Now, Adam Patel, who was at the friendly the other day, tweeted something out, and it was a video of Daniel Farke on the sideline. If you guys haven't seen it, I'd encourage, if you're interested, going and watching it. And Farke is on the sideline, and it's something I noticed when I first watched it, and one of my mates sent it to me, actually. And throughout this clip, which is accessible online, he shouted at the midfield a hell of a lot. Distance. Distance. Now, why is that particular language really key here? Well, because distance in the midfield is everything. It's absolutely everything. And it's really important as well that Daniel Farke is almost using this language. And you're kind of looking at Leeds. We've spoken earlier on. Leeds have used the midfield 3 as well, you know, but the compact nature of, in particular, I think it was Gruev and Longstaff at the time as a partnership. He wanted the distance closer. Why? If you compact, you're harder to beat in that midfield. But it screams to me, potentially, that Leeds United might be ignoring that number 10 and going to a 3 in all respects. So 4-2-3-1, not an out-and-out 10, but maybe just a number 8 who shortens the distance between the double pivot and that advanced midfielder, or just a flat midfield 3, where the distance is short between them. I've always said on here before, it's like an invisible rope in that midfield, and you compact. Your fullbacks drop back, you can make it into a back 7, back 8, and Leeds United are defensively solid, okay? So what does distance help? When I've just got a few notes down here when it comes to a midfield. So obviously compact, you can protect those central areas, shorter passing options, which we know Daniel Farke will have to utilize in the Premier League. Also, both can collapse or press as a unit. One goes, the other's going to fall, but you can also press as a unit, which is really, important, especially when it comes to a midfield 3. Who's going to go? Who's going to stay? How does this order work, especially when it comes to Stackman involved as well? But also it's very safe passing out from the back because the distance is short. If one fails on the ball, there's a recovery player there as well. So really interesting when it comes to that from a tactical perspective. Okay, let's have a look. Your sound is great. Good stuff, mate. Thank you so much. Sound is fine. How much do you reckon you'll have in the bank, mate? I'm not sure, man. I'm not sure, to be honest with you. I'm not sure. We'll have to wait and see how that develops, but I'm fascinated to see how that works out. Wayne says, with the signings we've made this summer, I honestly think we're going to be switching to a 4-3-3 and therefore no need for a 10, particularly if we're coming big, what FC. El Khannouss is 5'11". Yeah, it's interesting to look at, really, isn't it? It's quite deceptive how tall El Khannouss is. But something to bear in mind as well is I do see him a little bit more as a floater, and I see Leeds United, if they are going for a number 10, I think basically what they're doing right now is really assessing their options. But I don't think we'll go for Hamer because I think Leeds are now sure that they are maybe going to be utilising an 8. And they've got that midfield composition now with almost that box 4, that we've got that box 4 of different profiles. So I don't really see where a 10 fits in. He said the midfield's fine, but then if the midfield's fine, a 10 comprises of that midfield. So I can't see us going out and doing that at number 10, to be honest with you, mate. So yeah, I don't think we'll do that. I think I'd be shocked if we went out and did that right now. And I don't think it's right. Now I'm kind of sat here thinking about it, and I've thought about it for, the best part of 2 or 3 weeks now. I don't think it's right because I think it's how Leeds are going to set up and the profiles that we're bringing in. But what I love about what we're doing right now is we're not bringing in players potential. We're not bringing in players who may hit the ground running. We're not bringing players in an abundance of players from 19 to 21. We are bringing in players who are experienced in the top leagues, who have an upward trajectory, but are being brought in to start and hit the ground running and be able to deal with the demands. A lot of this isn't risk with what Leeds are doing, which I think is really important. Now, the reason I would look at El Khannouss is because I think he was absolutely phenomenal in terms of his overall play in a horrendous Leicester City side. So he's a gem in that team. Similar can be said of Hamer in that Sheffield United side that conceded 104 goals and went down without a fight. But there's a lot of context when it comes to some of these players that we can pick from some of the relegated squads as well. So a lot to consider here. A lot to consider. Scott says, I honestly think Hamer stays now. Interest from Leeds and PSV dried up, and we made Hamer vice captain for the upcoming season. It may not mean anything regarding transfer, but it shows our intent. Can I be honest with you, Scott? Can I be honest with you? And this isn't being arrogant. I think I really rate Hamer. I think if we wanted Hamer, we'd go and get Hamer. That's how I feel. And that's not being arrogant at all. I think we've flirted with him for 2 years now, when he was at Coventry and when he's been at Sheffield United. If Leeds United seriously wanted Gus Hamer, they'd have got him on in the first week. Hamer's been on record or close to his camp. There's been people saying that he'd like to play in the Premier League, but he's happy in Sheffield. I don't know what that means. So you'd go to the Premier League then if someone was there with you or playing with you. He's 40 miles down the road. He can stay in Sheffield if he wants, doesn't have to do anything. He's not just going to stay at Sheffield United because he's a vice captain, mate. He just won't. But if Leeds went in there with a big offer or a decent offer, he would leave. He would leave, 100%. But I don't think Leeds United are sure on it. I don't think Leeds are sure on it. I don't think, and I don't know if I agree with this, but I don't know if Leeds believe that he's that needle mover, that because the Premier League is at such a high standard now, he's going to keep you up. I don't know if Leeds think that. So, yeah, we'll have to wait and see. 1 hour and 5 minutes and no ads. Great. But how come? Forgot some settings, Connor. No, mate, I haven't. Or I might have done, actually. Yeah, I think I have done, which is not ideal. So, guys, there you go. Probably not going to get paid for this. So, 2,000 of you in the building. Please make sure you're slapping a like on the video, everybody. We are going to leave it there. Thank you so much for being part of this. Really appreciate it. We will be out throughout the day with Perri stuff. We might do a little 5 things we can, look at when it comes to Lucas Perri. We might be looking at as well little bits of which can educate you guys on the new goalkeeper. You can almost like a fact file. I'm happy to do that. So keep on tune. Make sure you subscribe to the channel as well. If you're not, you won't get belled when I upload. This is just a thing that YouTube are doing at this moment in time, unfortunately. So make sure you do that, everybody. My name's Conor McGilligan. This is One Leeds, and this has been the Room Mill. Hope you've enjoyed. Slap a like before you leave. Watch on the replay. This will be uploaded to Apple and Spotify if you're interested. Guys, it's been a pleasure.